Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back to your favorite podcast. I mean, I don't know, with your hosts, myself, Jackie, and Sana.
I'm Italian now. Okay. Sana Bella. Ciao.
I'm sorry, I was in Italy.
Yeah, sorry,
How do you say hello? I don't.
Grazie.
Grazie. No, so for all of you, all 8 listeners.
We're at like 10
I think maybe we're at 10.
Yeah.
To be fair to us.
Yeah.
Yes, we're back. We took a 2-week hitus.
I don't even know how to do this anymore, how to function. I'm seeing Jackie after 2 weeks. I don't even know how to act.
I know. It's like seeing me for the first time.
I fell in love all over again.
Truly, though. Yes, we took a 2-week hiatus because Sana was in Italy. She was on her Italian adventures.
And if you saw this snippet of why.
Why?
Because the plan was to not.
Sana truly does. You do owe all 10 listeners an apology.
I owe you an apology. Okay. I will say, when I talk about dedication, I was dedicated and I did film.
Yes.
But the state of mind that I filmed was not appropriate for my listeners.
We might have to repost the Hemingway clip because of all of you who don't know or did not see it on our Instagram.
That's just like one of the funny things.
It was just one of the funny things
I said.
Sana had gone out the night. Well, no. Kind of like the entire. Well,
okay,
it's hard to say.
You guys, there's a 9-hour time difference.
Correct.
So we record at 7 p.m. here, which means I was recording at 4 a.m. in Italy.
Correct.
I got back to my hotel at 3:30 a.m.
Yes. So she was out the entire day, night, and did not sleep, aka did not prepare.
Did not prepare. A lot of shots in.
Yes. A lot of alcohol in.
Long story short, me and Aisha did a pesto class, and we met some friends at the pesto class, and the Italian friends wanted to take us out, and we were like, how do I say no?
How do we say no?
How do I say no to an Italian adventure?
Yes, to,
house.
Guillermo and, whoever. Can't think of Italian names.
How do I say no?
How do I say no?
I didn't. And
which, by the way, I told you before you left. I said, "Are you sure you want to record? I think you should just enjoy yourself and not worry about it." And you're like, "No. I got this." Sana's famous words. I got this.
I did get it. I mean, I made sure to be back.
You were back. You were somewhat coherent.
I was coherent.
You didn't pass out. I actually half expected you to pass out halfway through.
I mean, there was a lot of yawns.
We actually might release this. Maybe at the end of the year. Maybe as a little special Christmas gift to everyone.
The funniest thing is we ended the episode and I was like, oh, that was great.
Yeah.
And then I get the episode the next day and I'm watching and I was like, Jackie, there is no way we can post this.
She was like, we cannot release this. This is not okay. I thought it went okay. Caesar, our producer, was like, yeah, with a little bit of editing, it would be like a pretty good episode. Like, you guys actually pretty much stayed on.
He was too kind. Too kind, because I look like a hot mess.
She does. That's true.
I look like a hot mess, and the things that were coming out of my mouth, half things didn't even make sense.
They didn't make sense. At one point, she thought Hemingway was European and something, and then she was yelling at Aisha, and she was like, Hemingway is European, right? And it was like, no, Sana, he spent a lot of time, but he was an American writer. It was a good time. And then you could tell she was just getting super tired. So she just started yawning. She started slumping over. It was a good time.
I did have my green tea while I was doing it.
Yes. Of course, she had her green tea.
I took a baggie of green tea with me just in case I couldn't find it, which you probably could, but I didn't want to deal with sourcing it. So
just in case
I had the tea.
So
I need Lipton or someone sponsor me. Give me the green tea. Right? I'll drink it while I'm filming.
We'll have tea time with Sana.
Yeah.
But no, she's
tea
back.
time with tea.
Tea time with tea. Yeah. Spill the tea. But she's back, which is so exciting to have her back.
I'm happy and sad to be here.
That's fair. Everyone feels that way when you come back.
Yeah,
from any vacation, but especially Europe.
I'm having the Europe blues.
Yeah. That's fair. Kind of just like that post-depression.
Yeah.
When you realize your life isn't just you on the back of a Vespa.
I was living my Lizzie McGuire dreams.
Yeah.
And I come back and,
I
didn't find a Gordo or a Paolo.
That's what we were hoping for. But
I was hoping to bring one back.
It's fine.
But they can stay there, I guess.
You brought back 5 pounds instead.
I really did bring back 5 pounds instead. Caesar, you better snatch this up.
All the pizza, all the pasta, all the everything.
You know, it's so funny because everybody says when you go to Italy, like you get so tired of eating the food consistently. I never got tired of it.
I never got tired of it.
Ever. And I ate it every day.
Not at all.
Not at all. And I mean, we would have different types of pastas and pizzas.
Yes.
But not once was like, oh, I don't want to do this today. Not once did I say, let me have a burger instead.
No.
Let me have some Mexican food. I was like, no, this is great.
I can tell you, I never craved chips and salsa. I never craved a taco when I was out there. A cheeseburger, nothing. I was like, more pizza, please.
Please. It's literally an Aperol Spritz were my water.
Yeah.
Every day, Aperol Spritz?
Yeah. That was wine to me. I was just like, wine. Absolutely.
No,
Sit down, bottle of wine. I'm not a huge fan of Aperol Spritz.
Oh, I love
them. But yeah, we did wine. That was like our thing. I was just like, bottle of wine constantly. Like, just
no, we had a lot of
all the
wine.
time. Yeah, I drank so much wine.
This is so bad, but there were some days we drank no water.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
We were like, the ice from the Aperol.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much coffee when I was there. Especially, I know you're not a coffee drinker, but so much coffee when I was there. Wine, bread, pizza, pasta, everything. Risotto.
Everything.
Just...
Yeah, risotto. We had some of the best risotto.
I remember I had one risotto there in Florence. Best risotto of my life.
Yeah.
Delish. Oh man, to go back. How exciting.
I would love to I was telling Aisha, I was like, when we went to Italy, I was like, I could be here for a year.
Oh yeah.
Easy. It's one of the few places I have traveled to where I was like,
oh, I could
be here for a year.
I could do it. I think like Florence, probably Florence.
100%.
I could do. I haven't been to like Tuscany I've been to Rome, but I haven't gone to the coast like you did.
Well, the coast is great, but I would see me in
I think I could do Florence
or
Tuscany, kind of maybe in the Tuscany
they're
region.
Near each other.
Yeah. So, to explore some more.
Well,
you never know. We might be coming to you
from Italy.
From Italy. Who knows?
For a year.
You never know. We're like,
you never know. I came back and I went to my manager and I was like, can we open a branch in Italy? Because if you need someone to go there.
Google's how to get licensed to sell real estate in Italy.
Like I won't make nearly as much.
No, but you know what? We're fine. Pasta costs nothing out there.
Talking about the culture, everybody's relaxed there. Work is not a focus. Everyone's leisure. They're hanging out. They're enjoying. Everyone's laughing, enjoying life.
The dolce vita.
I'm down with that. I can do my siestas. What
are the kind of some of the cultural things that you really noticed? Because you hadn't been to Italy before.
I haven't been to Italy.
You've been to Europe before, but you haven't been to Italy.
Big one, everybody's relaxed.
Yes.
There's no sense of urgency. What's so funny is you go to restaurants in America and they're like trying to turn the tables quickly.
Right.
You get hit with the bill quick. You have to beg for the bill in Italy.
Yes.
You could be sitting there for a long time. They're not once will they even give you the bill. You have to hunt them down to get the bill.
Right.
And then a lot of them, the times, right? They close.
They close from...
They do a 12 to 3.
And then from 3 to 7, they're closed.
They're closed.
And then 7 o'clock because they do eat very late in Europe, which I loved because I am a late eater. Going to dinner at 9 o'clock is not unusual for me. I think that's fine, but you can't do that here in the United States because everything closes at 10 during the week. Even in LA, things close at 10 or 11, and you don't want to be that asshole that shows up an hour before the restaurant closes, right? Just the kitchen and the staff. But they're open really late. Going to dinner at 9, 10 is normal.
And then they have that break. Obviously, no tipping.
Yeah, you don't tip.
You don't tip there. Another big one is they don't offer you water.
You have to buy water.
You have to buy water.
Water.
Wine sometimes ends up being the same price as water.
And you're like, well,
I'm just going to get wine. I mean, it's significantly cheaper. You can get, you go to dinners in LA or Orange County, a bottle is going to run you near $100 or whatever. You get a
anywhere
bottle
from 50 to 100.
50 to 100. You get a bottle of wine for 20, 30 euros. And fun fact, right now, the dollar's a little bit higher than the euro.
Yeah, they were pretty equal, and I know it's a tiny bit higher right now.
So this is the best time to go to Europe.
Yeah.
Because it's cheap as hell for us.
It's so choice. If you can do it.
No, it's crazy though.
Yeah.
So the average drink we would get was 10 euros. And the bougie ones were 20 euros. But that's funny because out here they start at $20.
Right. I know. It's quite shocking when you go there because everyone I think makes Europe and Italy, or not Italy, but Europe,
expensive.
Out to be very expensive.
It's not expensive.
It's honestly the most expensive thing is getting over there and maybe hotels.
but not even that bad.
But it's very equivalent to the US as far as hotel pricing.
Yeah.
And of course, like when you're traveling, like just remember, like their 2 stars are not the same as our 2
4-star
stars.
at least.
Like you have to do 4-star, really, just like safety and cleanliness. But still, the pricing is not over the top. Honestly, the most expensive thing is just getting over there.
Yeah, the food is so cheap.
The food is
we were
very
getting
inexpensive.
pasta truffle wheels for 20 euros.
Yeah.
You can't get
You
that
can't
out
get
here.
that. Are you
They're
kidding
like
me?
shaving the truffle in
You could
front of
barely
me.
go to Olive Garden and get a $20 pasta.
And it's like
Soup, salad, and breadstick lunch combo, maybe.
Literally.
Like,
but it's like, I mean, I told you about that La Antica where in Naples, the original pizza spot was there and they opened a branch in Los Angeles.
Right.
Naples, the whole pizza is €5.
Right. Where the pizza in Hollywood is like $22 to
$24
to $28. Yeah, depending on what you get.
So I was like,
delicious, by the way, if no one's ever gone.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Definitely go.
Amazing.
But
so good.
What I did learn is that America's ripping me off.
Again, all of it to say we're moving to Florence for a year.
Yeah.
Catch us there.
Catch us. On my Vespa.
On your Vespa.
With Lupe. I don't even know. Lucas.
Yeah. Luca. What about the men?
That also. Okay, so I feel like European men in general, they're very passionate. They're like, they're love. Everything is like, amor. Like, you know, even though the service we get when we walk into places, the way the guys are, we had so much fun. Everybody was so nice. Like we were talking about, we don't get that many. There's like, you don't see a lot of catcalling either. Yeah,
there really isn't. I kind of noticed that when I was there. There's just, because I think, again, the way that they treat women, maybe, and I haven't done enough research, so this may sound really ignorant, but I think that the way that they honestly maybe see women or value women is different than in the US.
I 100% think so.
Because, there's not like I didn't notice a ton of catcalling.
Yeah.
Or anything. And
I mean, and one of the biggest things that me and Aisha noticed is like the guys there have balls. Like, you know, I feel like out here when we go out, whether it's Orange County, LA, you will see so many guys at the bar just stare at you. Yeah. But no one has the balls to actually approach you.
And just talk to you.
Just talk to you, nothing. They just stare like fucking creeps and then never have the balls to do it.
Right.
In Italy, guys that don't even know English will make an effort with you. I went to the pesto class. This guy didn't know a word of English, wrote his Instagram on a piece of paper and handed it to me.
That's effort.
That's
effort, ladies.
Okay. Like, no.
Yeah.
They wouldn't, and they don't, like,
they don't do that in the US. And it's always, also, I feel like maybe the difference in the way that they talk to you in Europe versus in the US. In the US, it sometimes comes off very creepy. There's really kind of no, like, you know, let me just try to be a little bit charming. It comes off very, very creepy. Whereas I think in Europe, it's way more charming.
Yeah. And obviously, because Italy's cheaper, like they don't make nearly as much as we do. Like we make way more money than they do.
Right.
But like the chivalry, like we went out that night, they paid for the whole night.
Wow.
And it's like for them, that's probably kind of expensive.
Right.
Like for us, it's like whatever, but it's like, come on, how many cheap ass guys here? Like, let's split the bill.
Let's split the bill. So your portion was.
Yeah, and I'm never seeing you again, so why am I going to pay?
Right. No, but again, I think it's because it's maybe the way that they value women and the way that they see women. And, because that's where all the poetry and romance, started.
You see the passion in the
Europe.
Romance. Like, that's why we got to move. I'll find my husband there.
Yeah.
I'll be happy.
We'll be happy.
But no, I definitely think that men are better there.
Yeah, it's
don't
interesting.
at me.
I don't, because I don't know, because all of that to say, I don't know if the end goal sometimes is the same from men in the US and in Europe, but men in Europe just have a better approach.
You're right, approach.
So, because again, I don't know, right? I don't know if it's the same end game.
We don't know if it's like they see us being an American girl.
Right,
and
like, take advantage.
We don't know, but I agree, the approach.
But the approach is better.
The approach is better.
And I will at least take the approach.
Yeah.
That's nicer, and you probably have a better chance.
And I like that they are approaching.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there are so many, like, ballsless guys out here.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, it's the lack of masculinity, right? Like a lack of masculinity here in the U.S. And there is, I think a lot of women can attest to that, that there's just kind of a lack of chivalry, just men being gentlemen, and then again, just being masculine, but in the right way, right? Not in like a bullshit Andrew Tate way, but in a true, just like being, you know, like just the simple things, just like opening up the door, walking on the side street of the sidewalk. Leading a woman into the room with the small of her back, like just things of that nature. Those are masculine in nature. I'm not talking about you know, you want your woman to be barefoot pregnant in the kitchen. Like that type of bullshit. But
I don't think guys realize like moving the girl to the other side of the street, how attractive that is.
PSA to any man listening, if there are any, always walk on the street side of the sidewalk. Yeah. That is one of the most chivalrous, gentlemanly, masculine moves you can possibly make. And it was funny. I was reading a story on the account Humans of New York, which is a great account. If you don't follow, please go follow. Great stories. And this woman was even saying that she forgot what it was like to be courted. Yeah. And that's a huge thing. And I think that everyone thinks of courting as a very like archaic, traditional term. But it's not. There's more to it. It's actually a man pursuing, and you know, it's not just dating, it's courting. And she even mentions that he would walk on the street side of the sidewalk, and she's like, I haven't seen that since my dad.
I literally, if I'm out on a date with I pay attention to that.
So do I.
If a guy, like, you know this, my ex was really chivalrous.
He was very chivalrous.
Till the end of us being always open the car door for me.
Right.
I never even had to teach him to move me to the side of the shoe road. He
opening up the door for you.
Always did that stuff. So I'm used to that. Yeah. And I notice a lot of guys don't do it.
They don't do that because it's just kind of that lack of care. I mean, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
Really about why we think there's a decline of chivalry and just gentlemen, right, in this day and age. But yeah, I think that's not lost on the Europeans. I think they value that. And that's something that's ingrained generation over generation, right? That just like, this is how you operate. Again, I'm not saying that the end goal is different, because it could be the same, but at least, you know what? At least they're being a gentleman in the beginning.
Also like, I mean, again, we don't know.
Right.
But I don't feel like there are as many fuckboys out there. I think they are a little bit more serious.
Yeah, they are. I feel, because again, I think it's also just an appreciation for love.
Yeah.
Right. An appreciation for women. And I think there's always kind of that whole like, oh my gosh, like when you have a beautiful, good woman in your life, that's like you've hit the jackpot, you know? And I think the Europeans truly, or European men truly value that. And again, just because again, family, right? Like the way their mothers, their sisters, like their aunts, like there's a reverence and a respect for women over there that I don't think it's found in the U.S.
I agree. I think coming back here, I literally came back and I told Aisha, I was like, I need a European or a British man. Whoever, like, we're joking around in our, like, some of our cooking classes, and I was like, whoever's man is like, whoever can find me a man that is willing to come to America, because it's like, I want them, but in America.
Right.
I mean, we met in one of our cooking classes. She's from Hawaii. And she married a German guy, and he moved to Hawaii. Oh, wow. And I was joking around, and she's like, oh, that's what happened to me. And I literally was like, do you have friends in Germany that want to do the same thing?
Danke.
Yeah. And like, he's like such a like funny, witty, charming guy. Right. So good looking.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
That's a dream.
Well,
that's the dream.
That's even something, I think, just even a desire to maybe have an actual relationship, because we didn't say this in the beginning, but today's episode is all about situationships and our top 3 ways on how to avoid them or help you get out of them. But yeah, I think that they just actually want a relationship or marriage and family. And because again, that's something that is, I think, more respected in Europe versus the US. Not to say that we don't respect it, but I don't know. I don't know what the divorce rate over is in Europe. It's 50% here.
I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
I don't think it's as high, but I could.
I could be wrong. Yeah, we have like, I have no scientific proof, but I know for a fact.
Based on the 2 weeks I got.
Based on the 2 weeks that I was there.
Yeah.
No, but it's true though. I don't know. There's just something different over there.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to Europe, DM us. Let us know if you agree or disagree about the men or even the women situation over there. But I think that there's just a huge difference in respect for relationships, marriage, family, again, women in general. I don't know.
No, I think there is. I mean, for example, like one of the guy that gave me his Instagram that we all went out with, whatever. We left. I had to go back, whatever. And from that day, it's funny because he used like Google Translate because he doesn't know English.
So
So he like keep DMing me, and like he's like, "Oh, like you're in Rome, like no problem. I'll come on the train 4 hours." And I'm like, "No, I have a whole busy day stacked.
Yeah, like it's okay.
It's okay. You don't have to do that." But like, come on, in America,
Very eager
if you tell them to meet you 30 minutes out, no.
Are you kidding me? Like
this man is trying to go 4 hours to see me for the day. I'm like,
it's like in LA. If I have to cross the 405, like no.
Yeah. I was like, that would never happen.
Yeah,
this guy's like trying to trek across the country just to see me. I'm like,
yes. Which this again plays very well into our situationship episode for today, because that was even red flag when they don't even want to drive 45 minutes to see you. Yeah. Which again, I think is something that's very prevalent right now in the dating scene, is just lack of effort. Lack of desire even. I think it's just whatever I can quickly grab.
And it's a big, I want to have my cake and eat it too. Yes. Everybody wants the, especially, I can't say especially men, but I'm sure women do
in
this
our
too.
In our experience, because our experience is only with men.
But I'm sure the women do it too.
I'm sure there's women too, absolutely.
But they want the emotional side.
Yes.
They want to have the conversations.
Yes.
They want the girlfriend experience.
Yes.
But they want to be able to do what they want.
Yes. Which... this is exactly what I experienced.
Yeah. I mean, let's hear about your experience, Jackie, because it's been a journey.
It's been a journey. But yes, that's honestly one of the biggest things, is having your cake and eating it too, and having that girlfriend experience, but without having to put in any effort. Yeah.
Or the commitment, and being able to be like, well, we're not anything.
Exactly.
So like, you can't be mad at what I do with other females.
Right. Or you can't expect anything. So situationships. It's funny because I think that's a relatively, I don't want to say like relatively new term, but that's not kind of right. I think for our generation.
Yeah, and we created it.
Right. We created it. And so for me, I found myself, I have recently kind of basically transitioned out of a situationship.
These are put a clap in, because I've been waiting for this moment.
Sana has been through it all since its inception to now. Yeah. And this is embarrassing to say. And everyone is hearing this is going to be like, you dumb hoe. I was in an emotional situationship for 5 years, close to 5 years. And again, just cue the like, you dumb bitch. And that's where mine is very different. And that's where I do, I guess, connect to that girlfriend experience.
Yeah.
Because we were not physical. We maybe like kissed a couple times.
Yeah. Also because most of the time he was out of the state.
Exactly. So so let's start from the beginning. Yeah. We'll give the Reader's Digest version. But basically we met on a dating app. And so that's really key for me, because that's what really pisses me off about all of this.
Why are you on a dating app? But a lot of them are on dating apps that don't want.
Yes, that don't want. And it's just, anyway.
We'll get into it.
So met on a dating app. He is, his nickname is the Pilot. So you hear the Pilot. That's who we're referring to. Yep. And he he's 16 years older than me. And I had met him, close to 5 years ago. October 14th is when we officially met. I hate that I remember that. And so we met on a dating app, and we just, started talking and just chit-chatting back and forth. I was very, I love Matthew Hussey, as you know. I really do like, not like everything he says, but I really do like a lot of his advice.
No, a lot of his advice is pretty sound.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I remember him always saying, match the investment. So, and this is actually a good premise, I think, for even friendships or any type of relationship, romantic or otherwise. match the investment, right? But specifically for romantic relationships, I was like, okay, match the investment. So if he's talking to me, I talk to him. He reaches out to me, I reach out to him, right? I'm not interested in playing games. And so we just kind of were going back and forth. We were talking, and then our talking just continued to grow. We were talking multiple times a day, different forms, right? Text, video call, on the phone. And we were talking about everything. And we would have these conversations that went, for a few hours. And again, just talking about life and truly, truly just everything. So I'm a very emotional person.
No,
I'm an empath.
No, but you have a big heart.
I do.
And when you care about someone, you are there for them.
Yes.
You are in it.
Yes,
and
I am.
Your heart and soul is in it.
I am.
Like you literally are one of the people that I can say like heart of gold, like so pure.
No, thank you. And I do. I'm fiercely. I love fiercely. I know that sounds very cheesy.
No, but you do.
But I love fiercely, and I'm fiercely loyal. Sometimes to a fault, as we'll see. But I do. When I care about somebody, I truly do care about somebody, and you know it. And so I started getting emotionally attached. And again, my fault was that, maybe even a month into it, 2 months into it, I should have said, really my first mistake was not asking questions. I didn't ask, what are you looking for? Yeah. I did not ask that, which I have learned since to ask, what are you looking for? But I didn't. So we just kept on going, and I never asked questions. I never said, hey, where do you see this go? Or anything, right? Because I was very scared, and I think some people can really relate to this, is that a lack of self-esteem and low self-esteem. Because again, everyone kind of, well, not everyone, but we've talked about the journey of like, I was never that girl. I have always been overweight. So I've never just been like the hot chick. I've never really grew up with male attention. So when I had this guy and talking, and I liked him, right? Like I actually liked him. It was good conversation. He was funny. He was connected. Like we shared a lot of the same values, and I did truly enjoy his company. But because of that lack of self-esteem, I let a lot of bullshit slide. I let a lot of things slide, and I didn't want to say anything because I was scared and I was nervous that it was going to go away. And I think a lot of people have told themselves this, a lot of women.
100%.
Something is better than nothing. And it is not. It seems like it is in the moment, but it is not. So we've just gone through this. I think honestly, for close to 5 years, we've talked almost every single day. And because he was a pilot, he was based out of LAX. And then I forget what happened. And then he moved back to Houston, and then he moved back to LA. But as he would come out here, red flags of he wouldn't make time to see me. I would ask him, he would break plans.
Yeah.
And it was never, and of course it was always like, oh, we'll have to get together, another time, or something happened. And again, I just accepted it, right? Yeah. I would tell him at times, I remember we had conversations, I would tell him at times, hey, that's not okay. Look, I'm not like your girlfriend, so I understand that I may not be like, you have to see me.
But he's calling and texting you every day. And what's crazy is even when he blows you off, he still continues to call you and text you.
Yes. And like an idiot.
You were like, hello.
I was like, hey.
You rang?
Yeah,
I've been waiting.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'm like, I'm not going to answer his text for 30 minutes. That'll show him. So, so I just continued I continued to show him.
Well, I think there's always hopes of maybe it'll change.
Yes.
Maybe he'll realize.
Yes. That was always in the back of my head.
You always think, next time he comes, he's going to because you think that, well, he keeps calling me. He keeps reaching out to me. Like there's something.
Right. There's something there. There's something that keeps him here. There's something, right, that I offer. And if I keep on offering that, it's going to keep him here. Yeah. And so again, I come from like a very like people-pleasing background. Again, low self-esteem. That's typically what happens. And so I just was like hoping it'll change. And it'll be different when. And if you're ever saying it'll be different when,
you got to get out.
You got to get out. That's like a huge red flag.
Babies,
like just
get out.
Habibis. run, like just run. And so, yeah, so it was always like, well, he's not here. So, he's in Houston and he is unsettled and he doesn't know where he's going to land. And he doesn't know, no pun intended. He doesn't know, whether he's going to be based out of Houston or LAX and he's trying to figure it out. So again, right, just like excusing behavior. But all the while, that's what was so confusing to me is why would you reach out to me? Why would you continue to talk to me?
But then you don't want to see me.
But then you don't want to see me. You don't want to spend time with me, right? And we did go out like on a couple dates here and there, and we had a really good time. Of course we did. Like our digital translated well into, real time and sharing physical space. And it was a really good time. And I don't know, again, mixed signals, right? That's another red flag.
Yeah.
A lot of mixed signals. I remember I would talk to you after the dates and I'd be like, yeah, but like he was kind of like touching me and, like we kissed and he was doing this. And then again, calling me. I remember after our first date, he was calling me on the way home. Literally, we had just left each other and I was almost home and he called me and I was on the phone with my sister because I was telling her how it went. And I texted him. I was like, I'm on the phone with my sister. I'll call you in a bit. Then I was off the phone and I remember talking to him for like another hour after our date.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, okay, well, like clearly you're in love with me. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
So a lot of mixed signals on his end, but again, that's a red flag.
They want the emotion.
Exactly. And so fast forward to where I am now. And I guess to get to the straw that broke the camel's back, he was here in April. And we are located in Orange County, if you didn't know.
Don't stop us.
Don't try to find me. But I'll give you my address later. And he was out here in Riverside. He was here for like a week. He does not live here. His family is not from here. His family is in Sweden and New York. So he has nobody really out here. And then especially in Riverside. What the hell is there to do in Riverside?
Nothing.
I'm not trying to like be mean to anybody who's in Riverside. But truly, what the hell is there to do in Riverside?
Nothing.
There's nothing. And so he was out here and he was here for pretty much a week. It was around my birthday. And he was here for some court thing or whatever, but made zero effort to see me. And
let me guess, he kept calling.
Yeah. We were still talking. And again, me and my stupidity, I kept on answering the phone, kept on answering his texts. Because again, that just like, I don't want to lose this.
Yeah.
And also fun, but vulnerable, embarrassing fact, I've never had a relationship. I've never been in a committed relationship. And obviously I've dated and, all that stuff, but never a full committed relationship. So this was the closest I've ever been, which was another reason that it was very, very, very hard. Yes, this is another reason why I hung on, because it was just like, again, something's better than nothing.
I think that's the big reason why a lot of people hang on.
Yes.
And I think it's because they like them. And I think a big one is, which we've talked about, where it's like, do you like them or do you like the life you fantasized about them?
Yeah.
That actually doesn't exist.
Right.
Because if you take everything apart and see all the bullshit, what do you like about them? What are they offering you?
It's true.
What are you gaining? What you're gaining, someone who is inconsistent, lack of time, doesn't want to see you, everything is on their terms. In comparison, right, to what you're giving, right? Because you truly I truly did, I mean, to be completely honest and open and vulnerable about it, I fell in love with this guy, right? No, you gave him all the emotion.
I did. I was very vulnerable. I was very open. And to me, and some may argue, but for me, the fact that I was more open emotionally than anything physically, that's what got me, right? Because there are people, and even women included, that can just sleep with somebody or be physical with somebody and doesn't mean anything.
Sleeping with somebody versus being emotional with somebody are two different things, because emotionally, when you open yourself up and are so vulnerable, you almost feel like violated. You almost feel like this person knows everything in and out about me and doesn't give a shit.
Exactly. And that was exactly where I came to with it. And with him being out here, didn't see me, didn't make any plans. And I would say hey, you're only 45 minutes from me, 30 minutes from me. And again, I would even say I'll come to you. Right. And that was another flag. I would always go out to him, which, is another, I always made excuses because I was like, well, I like LA better. There's more to do out in LA. I mean, we would talk about this. He's busy. It's fine.
He's only here for a few days.
Exactly. And even though he would never come down to Orange County, But yet he did come down to Orange County for other people. And again, I knew this. He would tell me this. He would tell me. I know everyone's like, you are so stupid.
I would tell her.
Sana would tell me. Sana would tell me.
Daily almost. I'm like, drop this
clown.
This clown.
This Muppet. Like
what is he? But again, when you're in the situation, you have blinders on.
Right. What's that thing? You can't see the forest through the trees.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the opposite way.
I don't even know.
But yeah, you can't.
You have blinders on and you don't want to see it.
You don't want. That was my thing is I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to accept that this was, it wasn't genuine on his end. And, you know.
It's selfish.
It's very, very selfish. And I didn't want to accept the fact that truly, I'm cheaper than a therapist, right? Because he would unload everything on me. I know everything about this man.
Unfortunately, he knew you were going to be there.
Exactly.
He knew that no matter what, if he saw you, if he didn't see you, you were going to be there.
I was going to be there because I am such an empath.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm there with you in it. I empathize with people. I sympathize, empathize. And so anytime he had something happen, it was it was me.
Yeah. I mean, this is another thing we've talked about where it's like, it's so easy for guys to find girls to sleep with.
Yes.
But how easy is it to find a girl that you emotionally connect with, can freely talk to, no judgment, unload everything.
Yes, a
safe space, someone who's educated, speaks well, is not a bimbo.
Intelligent, that actually offers sound advice.
And
that they trust.
Yes.
And he would tell me. He would tell me multiple times, like, I trust you.
Exactly.
Like, and he doesn't trust a lot of people.
That is what is hard to find.
Yes.
And that's why they hold on to that aspect.
Yes.
Because, again, finding someone to sleep with.
Finding a piece of ass is easy. Finding someone to hook up with. To
mentally stimulate you.
To mentally connect with and emotionally connect with. It's very hard. It's hard for anybody, but men specifically, right? That's because, again, they're not taught that. They don't maybe have friendships like that, even with their male friends. And so, yeah, I mean, he had lost his mom. Who did he come running to?
You.
Right? Who was he on the phone with? Who was he kind of crying, right, on the phone on the other end? It was with me.
Yeah.
Because he knew I would be there. And really, it's just... And then even just saying, you know, oh, I trust you and you're like in my, you know, like circle of trust type of thing. Like, you know, it's very small. That's manipulation, right? Just to keep me. And again, breadcrumbing.
Make you feel special.
Yes, make me feel special.
Like, he's opening up to me. Oh, he's only telling me
different.
This. You know how many guys like, oh, you're one of the few people that know this. And it's like, does it fucking matter to me?
Yes, he told me that so many times. He would say, you know, I've never told anyone this, or I wouldn't tell anyone this but you. And again, I fell for it.
Yeah.
Because of my lack, which is kind of another thing is just when you don't know yourself, when you are not aware of just, you know, kind of, I don't want to say traumas, but your lack, right? Things that you're lacking, just the everything. When you're not aware of that and you haven't like worked through it, gone to therapy, whatever it is, you allow that BS in your life, which is another really important reason to really make sure that, you know, your wellness is there mentally and you work through your issues because it really teaches you not to accept a lot of bullshit. So, so then, right, we're back right into the Riverside thing. He's here, didn't see me, still calling me, still telling me about his day, all this stuff, bullshit, absolute bullshit. And I told him, and then of course, the day of my birthday, my sister's out here from New York, and I already told him she's out here. I'm going to be celebrating my day with her. And then day of my birthday, he tells me, oh, if you're free tonight, I'd love to take you to dinner. And I said, why would you say that? I said, I told you that my sister's out here and I'm spending the day with her. And that I already told you this. You already knew she was coming out. Why would you do that? Which again, he's saying that on purpose.
Because he knows you're not available.
Because he knows I'm not available. So he doesn't have to see me. He has a built-in.
In your eyes, it's like, well, I tried.
Right, exactly.
I tried to plan a dinner with you.
Well, I tried. And he even said that later on. I remember after he had gone back to Houston, I remember saying something to him. And he was like, well, I tried and you weren't available. And I said, bullshit. I said, you knew I was not going to be available. You did that on purpose. Which again, avoidant. He would avoid answering the question. He would avoid any of the truth.
Conflict.
Right. Yeah, any conflict, right? Just complete. He avoids that in all aspects of his life.
Do.
Yes. So that was kind of like the first straw. And then the second true final straw was he was back out here in July. and he had had tickets to a concert at the Hollywood Bowl, which he had never been to the Hollywood Bowl. And that's one of my favorite concert venues.
Everybody knows that about you.
Everyone knows about it. It's one of my favorite concert venues. And it's the best. Yeah. It's absolutely the best. And I had told him that. I've told him that multiple times. Not even just the recent time when he was coming out here. I've told him that multiple times before. And because he had never been, he was even asking me, like, help. I'm like, hey, what are the best seats? Like, you know, blah, blah, just kind of just the ins and out of it. And I'm telling him everything, right?
Yeah.
And again, if he didn't he didn't invite me, spoiler alert, he didn't invite me to the concert, which, again, could be fine. You don't have to invite me. But, like, that's pretty fucked up to have me help you.
Yeah.
And you know how I felt about you. This is also another thing that everyone needs to know. I didn't outright say, hey, I really like you. I like you in the beginning. I hadn't said this.
Yeah.
You know, I want more from you. I want a romantic relationship with you. I did end up telling him this, I think a couple times.
A couple times I
told him, I like you in a romantic way. And I don't think that you reciprocate, right? You know, I don't even know really why. I honestly should have just walked away at that point, but I was just saying, I just had to say it. I just had to and just like, look, like I still want to be your friend because again, that was still something in me. And I was just like, I still want to be your friend, but like, I like you in a romantic way. And I think I was also trying to maybe give him an opportunity to say something.
And I think you were probably a little bit hopeful for him to be like, I feel the same way.
Yeah. I mean, yes, there was always like a little smidge in the back of my head that was always hoping that somehow maybe he would say, you know, I do like you, or I do want something with you. I just, whatever. But I did. I just ultimately, truly, the majority of it was I just wanted to give him an opportunity to say something.
Yeah.
To just be like, yeah, I totally understand. I get it. Just to have some sort of like peace of mind, because there were so many mixed signals and it was so confusing. So, so he buys tickets for this concert. He comes out here to go to the concert, takes somebody else. Bastard. I don't know who he took, but he had sent me even like video of the concert. I
can't stand him.
Sent me video of the concert.
The audacity.
The audacity. I know everybody listening to this is like, you were so stupid. And he sent me the footage, which, again, I have no scientific proof, but I know in fact that it was taken by a girl.
Yeah.
And so
when you know, you know.
When you know, you know. And so I'm just like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And again, he was out here for a few days. Again, mind you, he doesn't live out here anymore. He hasn't lived out here for at least a year. Yeah. He doesn't have family out here. He may have a few friends, but there's no excuse. No excuse. Not enough. And again, I'm also a friend, and I'm somebody that you talk to every single day.
More than anybody else.
More than anyone else. So if there's going to be one friend that you visit, it's going to be me.
Or that you take to my favorite venue.
Exactly. It's going to be me. And yeah, so I was just like, we'll wait to see if he says anything. If he says, hey, let's grab a coffee, let's grab a drink, let's maybe go play tennis, whatever. Because we had seen each other a few times back when he was here. We would go and hang out. But that was also interesting because anytime we would see each other, it was typically to go play tennis. And it was like, you don't really know a ton of people that play tennis. And obviously you need to go play with someone else. So that's what we would usually do, which that should have been a red flag. And yeah, so then I said, okay, I'm thinking in my head, I'm just going to say one thing and we'll see what his response is to it. And so I texted him and I said, hey, when do you head back? We should hang out before you go. And he said, he didn't even like respond to anything. He said something like, oh, like I'll call you about this later, something like that. Never did, never touched base with me. And then went back to Houston. And that for me was just kind of the final straw.
Yeah, it was a slap in the face.
Huge slap in the face. And I think I just finally,
I think
it was the slap that like finally sobered me up and woke me up. And so from that point on, I'm like, I'm done. I realized, that you were just simply taking advantage, that it was just, you wanted the girlfriend experience. I'm cheaper than a therapist. I would say that I'm an emotional support animal, right? Like, which sounds
at this point.
But truly, like, that's what I was to you. Like, that's what I was to him. And so now it's very limited communication. And I know a lot of people are gonna be like, oh my God, why are you still even talking to him? Like, this is ridiculous. I know, Sana is. Which I do want to say to everyone, if you do find yourself in a situationship, like how you end it and what you do, I think truly does, it's really by your own rules. I know everyone will have an opinion. Everyone will say what you need to do. But at the end of the day, they weren't in it. Just like how nobody was in it like I was in it. And the way that I'm doing it is what I need. And it's healthy. Some people might be like, no, you need to completely end it all. And I might get there, right? Like it actually might be there, but I'm also someone that just doesn't immediately cut off it. I can and I can't. Yeah. So it's not, I'm keeping contact because I want hope. It's a slow fade for me in a way, because I truly loved this person. And for me, because I love so fiercely, there's always going to be a love and a care there. There always will be there, because it is just very pure. The spot in my heart might get smaller. I had a friend tell me that this past weekend, but it'll still always be there. So, it's that slow fade. So I have learned.
You've learned so much. Let's talk about quickly, just, I guess signs, we discussed signs a bit.
Yes.
But non-consistency.
Yes. Yes. No consistency. Nothing is clear.
If you're questioning something,
yes,
it's get out of it.
Ultimately, a
guy should never make you question what you are.
Yes.
And if he is questioning what you are, girl, you're in a situationship.
Yes. If you are confused,
he's not gonna commit to you.
Yes.
It's never gonna go anywhere.
It's never gonna go anywhere.
It's your prerogative if you want to stay in it.
Right.
That's up to you. But just know that you're not going to be the one to change it.
And just know you're going to get burned. Like, more than likely, you're going to get burned. So basically that's like kind of like the number one sign of like, because you'd be like, I don't know, am I in a situationship or am I not? If you're confused about anything about where you stand, what you guys are, what to call him, where this is going, nothing's clear, you're in a situationship.
I've trust me when I say a guy that wants you will make it damn clear that he wants you. There will be zero confusion.
Yes. And I'm not talking about like the first couple dates. I'm not saying you've been out with this guy, we've been talking over the course of 2 weeks or we've seen a couple times. No, not like that. I'm saying like after like a month, 2 months, right? Like you've been talking, you've been seeing each other consistently and there's still no clear cut where this is going. There's confusion. Like you're heading into a situationship, basically.
You are.
And so
I actually saw something so interesting today, and I think I sent it to you, but it was like, okay, we play that game where it's like, okay, if he doesn't contact me, I'm not contacting him. If he doesn't text me, I'm not texting him. And it was so interesting because I don't know if you watched it, but it was like, you're attracting an avoidant style type of man by doing this.
Yeah.
That you think that this is beneficial for you, but you're attracting exactly what you don't want.
Exactly.
And you need to actually do the quite opposite.
Right.
And to get what you want. And if they're acting like that, then you know that's not what you want. But you don't match that.
Yes.
Because you're just creating what you don't want.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'm explaining this properly.
No, that was it. And it's very interesting because he is an avoidant. Like I do believe in attachment styles. I don't think like everything is correct, but I do believe in a good chunk of it. And he would be avoidant. I don't know if it's like anxious avoidant or whatever, but like he would be avoidant. Yeah. He had hardcore narcissistic tendencies. I don't want to say that he was a narcissist because I think everyone throws out that term. Yeah. Everyone just is like, oh, he's narcissist. And it's like, well, there's varying degrees. I remember somebody told me that, but he had narcissistic tendencies. Yeah. And one of those is because then they cling to an empath. But yeah, you create what you don't want. You are facilitating that. You're giving.
And I think you think that like, home. Oh, that's gonna get him to change his mind and all of that. But no, you don't want to be in a situation where you're still waiting on them to text you.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what you're creating.
They
still have the upper hand.
Right.
Even though you don't talk to them for a month or whatever, or for a few days, when they come back, the cycle is going to repeat.
Right. And again,
they may come back, but the cycle is going to repeat.
You're teaching. And that's what I realized is that like I was teaching him how to treat me. Yeah. And that's what you do like as women, even men, but like as women, right, from our perspective, you are teaching a man how to treat you. Yeah. You're teaching them what is acceptable in your life and in your circle, right? You're saying, yeah, absolutely. You can totally treat me like shit. You can use me for for therapy.
And unfortunately, they, like you said, they figure out your habits. So they know that like, okay, you're going to get pissed for a bit.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to talk to me for a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm going to say something to you and you're going to be right back.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so I mean, there are a lot of red flags when it comes to situationships.
Yes.
And you definitely usually know if you're in it or not.
You can tell.
I think the only way that a situationship is okay is if both parties are okay with being in one.
Yeah, if you're like,
I'm not interested in this guy, I'm interested in this girl,
dating,
I would never date either of them.
Yes, I don't want to date this person. Right.
It's not as common because
it's not as common.
Generally speaking, some party wants something more.
Because then you have a friendship. Is that's what that's called?
Yeah. Generally some party. But then sometimes there are those circumstances where, like for briefly about me, where it's like I will get sometimes into a situationship and I'll like them initially and be wanting to be with them.
Right.
I mean, my current last, what do we want to talk about?
Yeah.
We'll just say last. But then you get to know them and see more about them. And you're like, no, I don't fucking want to date you.
No, thank you.
Like, you're fun to hang out with. You're fun to have a conversation with, all of these things. But do I want to date these qualities?
No.
Are these what I want in a future partner?
Right.
Is this attractive to me?
Right.
No.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's why it's good to recognize, right, all the stuff, because then you could be getting into a situationship and I remember we talked about this, you asked, you guys kind of had a conversation about like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Right? What do you want now? What do you want for your life? Where do you see yourself in a couple of years? Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
And that person had expressed to you, like, no, I don't want something serious. And you're like, well, I'm not saying I want it right off the bat, but that's what I am ultimately looking for.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of a key, right? So like kind of getting into like maybe like top 3 things I've learned.
Yeah. For sure. I think a lot of people like to avoid and not ask what somebody wants because they're afraid of what they're going to say.
Yes.
But I agree. In the beginning, you need to make it clear. Like even date 1, 2, like
Right.
what are you looking to get out of this?
Right.
Are you in the space of I'm just trying to have casual dating?
Right.
Or in the space of I'm open to meeting if the right person comes along, I'm open to a relationship. So
Right.
that line needs to be clear.
Yes.
And then if it is not clear, you need to also be okay with it never changing.
Right.
Because we are in this, especially women, get in this constant mindset where like, he's going to realize one day. He's going to see, if I do this for him, he's going to realize.
That was me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know
I'm
what?
telling
I'm going to get him a birthday gift and he's going to feel so bad.
He's never going to.
Idiot.
It's never going to change.
It's never going to change. It's never going to
change.
But I think that's number 1 is asking questions.
Yeah.
Asking questions early on. Again, first date, if you just like want to sit there, get to know each other, just, hey, what's your vibe, right? Whatever. Not a problem because typically you most likely met off an app. So if you just want to see, hey, did this digital connection translate into an actual like physical, connection, in-person connection, I should say, then cool, right? Second date though, if you were going to see this person again, second date, maybe kind of talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I'll be very honest. When I was on apps, I would even say, so what are you wanting from this app?
But
what are you looking for? You have to.
Yeah.
Because again, there would be so many times where I would have guys, they'd be like, oh, just something casual. And I would say, what do you mean by casual? What does that mean to you? Oh, I'm just looking to kind of find someone that's like wanting to like have fun and hang out. And I would say, oh, I'm looking for the opposite. I'm looking for a connection that could ultimately lead or could maybe lead to a committed relationship. So it sounds like we're not looking for the same thing. So probably best we end the conversation here.
Well, the biggest problem is no one's up front. And I think that's why so many situationships happen is because one of the parties don't express their non-desire to commit.
Right.
And they kind of lead you on a bit.
Yes.
And then you realize, oh shit, they don't even want this.
Right.
Because they know if they speak up front, more than likely you're not going to be down.
I'm not going to, exactly. If I had known, right, that he was not interested in me, then I probably would have walked away sooner. And I don't know, maybe I would have said, okay, like, but I do enjoy you. Like, maybe like, let me give me some time to kind of,
rewire my brain around
rewire this brain, wrap my head around this, like reset. And then, maybe we can pursue a friendship, if maybe, because maybe my romantic attachment wouldn't have been so deep. Right.
Yeah.
Because I got so connected to him emotionally. But that's the thing with men. I think a lot of times it's like, oh, I'm just looking for a girl that I can like emotionally sleep with. Yeah. Right. Like I can have that emotional connection and basically I can have a girlfriend experience, but I don't have to commit to you. Yeah. So number 1, ask questions. And if you think you're in a situationship right now, ask the question, hey, where do you see this going? Hey, what do you want from this? Hey, or even just simply stating what you want. I know that other people have said that. Not even putting a question to them. Hey, I'm really enjoying our time together, and I really like you, and I actually would really like to see this, as a committed relationship, or I would like to be exclusive.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And if they say no,
and if they're like, then okay, then
don't
bye.
wait for it. Don't wait and be like,
don't wait for the change.
If we spend a month together, 2 more months, 3 more months, 4 more months, it's gonna change.
Yes,
maybe 1% it may happen, but it's not gonna fucking happen.
Because then that goes into number 2. Don't make excuses.
Because we make a lot of excuses.
Oh,
he's just going through a lot right now. He's busy with work.
That was me.
He just doesn't have time.
That was me.
No, I promise you, from someone who was heavily courted in the last relationship, if they want you, they will make it happen. If they want to see you, they will make it happen. If they want to date you, they will let you know they want to date you.
And I heard someone say it in a different way because I know we've talked about this and I don't necessarily believe in the whole, like, if they wanted to, they would. But in a way I do. But I heard someone say, if they wanted to commit the time, they will.
No, but that's the best way to put it.
And that's the best way to put it, is if they want to commit the time, they will.
Everybody has time. Nobody's that busy.
If it's important to you,
you'll make
time. I'm not even saying a priority, because sometimes things aren't always a priority, right? But if it's important to you, you'll make the time and the effort and the energy, and you will make space for it. Think about the things that you've made space for in your life when it's important to you. So, right, like losing weight, right? Then you make the space for working out. You make the space for meal prepping. Just relationships, friendships. You make the time. You find it. And so don't make excuses. And don't make excuses for where you're at, for what's happening. And just even in the beginning, don't make excuses for why it's not going in a direction that you want.
Yeah.
I did that a lot. I would always make excuses. I would always make excuses to you.
A lot. I've done that. A lot of people do that, but you need to face the reality and be like, no, sometimes it is black and white.
It is. It's very black and white, and you just don't want to see it.
Yeah.
You're operating in 50 shades of gray because you just don't want to. Because that's the fear, right? It's the fear of it falling into the black, of being like, he doesn't want you. He doesn't. And that's shitty, right? Like
it's so shitty.
It's so shitty to be rejected.
It's so shitty to be rejected. But I think that leads to my number 3 point, where it's like, do you actually like him, or the idea of him and what you... Because I think sometimes you meet someone and you like the connection's so great initially before you get to know the like red flags, and you fantasize by that initial connection.
Yeah.
But then if you take that apart, like, do you really want a guy that is acting this way towards you, not committing time towards you, making you feel
beg for attention,
making you question everything?
Right.
No. So sometimes you need to take a step back and realize, do I actually like him? Or do I like the idea I made up in my head?
Right. Do I like the romanticized version, which is basically our number 3 point of like honesty.
Yeah.
And that was one of my biggest problems, is I was never really honest with myself about myself, right? About my issues, about my lack of self-esteem, about what I was allowing in my life, what I was basically saying okay to, but about him, right? About, I would make, again, going back to the excuses, but I wasn't honest about what he truly was, that he has narcissistic tendencies, that he has a lot of childhood trauma that he's never dealt with, that he's full on carried into his adult life.
Yeah.
I was never honest about who he was, that he was just using me, right? I do think that he cares to an extent, but ultimately I'm cheaper than a therapist. I was someone who was always there.
Soundboard.
I was a sounding board. That's truly the God honest truth of what we were. It was genuine on my end. I truly was genuinely in this, and I had genuine feelings, but he didn't. And again, like, you need to be honest with yourself. Yeah. So if you think you're heading into a situation, or you are in a situationship, take a step back and truly be honest, right? Again, like how you said, am I truly like in love with this person or whatever, or this romanticized version, the possibilities
because
of
I will
what
tell
could
you
be.
10 out of 10 times it's a romanticized version.
A lot of times it
because
is.
Because most of the time the qualities of the man, a person in a situationship, is not what you want in a partner.
Right. Yeah.
You don't want a partner that treats you that way.
Yeah. And I even saw something today, and a therapist was saying that a lot of times, anytime you see somebody when you're in a situationship, and this is why it hurts more than a breakup sometimes, is because you're only seeing the good.
Yeah,
right?
you're holding on to that idea.
Yes, and every time it's usually good, right? So if you're in a situationship where you're physical, so you're sleeping together, well, every time you see each other, you're having sex or you're sleeping with each other, so it feels good. Right? Or then when you do hang out, you get this dopamine release of like, oh, I'm being chosen, right? Like I feel good. And that's not real. It's because it's not a consistent choice, right? They're not consistently making time for you and spending time with you. It's just like the breadcrumbing, right? And so he was saying that like, and I know that I felt that. I remember there'd be times where like he didn't reach out to me. And because a lot of times it was him reaching out to me more than I would reach out to him. And he wouldn't reach out to me, or I hadn't heard from him. And I would just get so anxious.
Oh, I know that feeling.
And I would just be like, oh my gosh. And just you can't think of anything. You're constantly checking your phone. And you're like, okay, I'm trying to distract myself. And then the minute you hear from them, whoosh, everything goes away. This like peace comes over and you're like, okay, everything's good now. And it's like, that's not okay.
That's not okay,
That's
which is so
not
stupid
okay.
Because you have so much going on for you in your life. You have friends that love you, family that loves you, all of these things, except this one stupid boy cannot text you, and it flipped all of that upside down.
All of it. All of a sudden, like before, I'm like down in the dumps under the covers, like nobody talked to me. I get a text from him, and I'm like, the sun is shining, like everything, like oh my gosh, it's all great. And I can't tell. It's and that is so messed up. That is so mentally and emotionally messed up.
Yeah, it's messed up to be in that limbo of also like, is he gonna reach out? Look, it's like you don't want to be in that state.
No, we don't want to be in that state. We don't want to give anybody that power and that power and control in your life, right? Like you set the boundaries and you have, fences and you have gates, right? You allow what comes in through that gate and who has access to that gate, really.
Yeah. Ladies. Know your standards. Gentlemen, I'll throw you a bone. Know your standards too. Whatever.
No, but
I know some girls can be cruel. Not us.
It's not us.
But I know it exists.
It does. But so ultimately, to kind of wrap it all up, if you find yourself in a situation, give yourself situationship, give yourself grace because it happens to the best of us.
All of us.
But do work on yourself. Really, truly just be honest, right? Take those three that we talked about. Just ask questions. Don't make excuses. But above all, be honest with yourself about whoever it is that you're with in the situationship and about the situation in general. Really just take a long, hard look and ultimately like choose yourself. Truly choose your self-respect, your worth, your time, your energy, everything, because I guarantee you something is not better than nothing when it comes to this. It's not.
Unless you're on the same page. If you're on the same page, go live. Go have your little friendship situation.
Go live your life. Yeah, go be friends.
Go do what you want if you're on the same page. If you're not on the same page, get the hell out.
Yeah, if you both have talked about it and you're both on the same page, fine. But if you're not.
If one party secretly isn't.
Yeah, gotta go.
Homie, cut it off.
Gotta go.
But this wraps up number 8.
Episode 8.
We'll be back, don't worry, next week for 9.
We're
hitting 10 real soon. We would have already almost hit it.
We almost hit it. If we didn't have our, our weird Italian episode.
Sorry.
Shauna's drunken episode. But we're back.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
Excited to keep this going.
Yeah. All right, everyone.
Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.